You know the cakes that disappear within minutes at family gatherings? The ones so good people beg for the recipe, but it's always kept a secret? This lemon butter bundt cake is one of those recipes. It is very much like a lemon pound cake, but with a buttery bottom similar to an old-fashioned buttermilk donut. It's been a huge hit with my readers, but a few people have run into hiccups, so stick around to the very end because this video will help you get it just right. For a light and tender cake, how you measure the flour matters. Spooning the flour into the measuring cup and then leveling it off ensures that you get just the right amount of flour. Sifting and then stirring the dry ingredients helps to evenly distribute everything and adds a little air to the flour. This means a lighter, more consistent cake with no surprise pockets of baking soda or salt. Another really important tip is to use room temperature butter and eggs. This ensures that they blend more easily into the batter, creating a smoother, more even emulsion. Adding the eggs one at a time helps them to mix in smoothly. As you can see, I accidentally added 2 at once. If this happens to you, don't worry, the cake will still turn out delicious. Just make sure the wet ingredients are mixed just a little longer so that they are fully incorporated. The lemon zest and lemon extract are added into the wet ingredients. The lemon juice will be added at the very end since it reacts with the baking soda, helping to give the cake its rise. Adding the flour in batches with the buttermilk helps to keep the batter smooth and prevents over-mixing. One of the most important tips with baking is to scrape down the sides of the mixing bowl often with a bowl scraper. This will make sure that everything mixes evenly because there is nothing worse than having streaks of flour or butter, which can cause dense spots or dry patches. One of the biggest challenges that my readers have had is how to remove the bundt cake from the pan without it falling apart. The first tip to make this easier is to use cold butter to grease the inside of the pan. This is because cold butter will cling to the side of the pan. As the cake bakes, it will melt slowly, helping to release it later. Once your cake is out of the oven, immediately start the glaze, which is just a simple mixture of butter, sugar, and lemon juice. Cook it over medium-low heat just until the butter is melted and the sugar is dissolved. As soon as the glaze is done, you'll want to use the end of a chopstick and poke multiple holes that are about an inch apart around the cake. Then pour the glaze over the top of the cake. Poking these holes lets the warm, buttery glaze soak into every bite, making the cake extra moist, rich, and full of bright, buttery flavor. Allowing the cake to cool completely before removing it from the pan keeps the crisp, caramelized edges that are reminiscent of a buttermilk donut intact. Unfortunately though, it can make removing it very challenging. 2 additional tips that can make removing the cake so much easier is using an offset spatula and almost boiling water. Gently run the offset spatula along the edges and center tube of the pan to loosen the cake, being careful not to dig too deep to avoid damaging the crust. And then place the bundt pan in a shallow bowl or pan of hot water for 30 seconds, just enough to warm the edges and help release the cake without over softening it. This may need to be repeated a few times before the cake releases with ease. For more recipes like this and for weekly inspiration, make sure to head on over to thefedupfoodie.com and sign up for my newsletter where I share recipes and tips in helping to make cooking from scratch approachable.